Hello again, David Creel, certified Ziegler master coach, with the sixth of seven solo episodes going over the Ziegler Wheel of Life. What's the Wheel of Life? Great question. Several decades ago, Zig Ziglar came out with the Wheel of Life. It's the seven areas of life that truly matter: mental, spiritual, physical, family, financial, personal, and career. In the previous episodes, we went mental, spiritual, physical, family, financial. And today we're going to talk about the personal spoke of the wheel of life. Now, the wheel of life. So, of the previous ones and of the seven, the mental, spiritual, and physical are the most important because we're mental, spiritual, and physical beings. But today we're going to talk about the personal spoke. So rate yourself 1 to 10. 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing on your personal spoke. Like, the personal spoke is taking time for you, doing stuff that you want to do. I've kind of heard and been told and seen that mothers are the worst at this because they're trying to make sure that their kids are taken care of, or their spouse, or their boss, or their parents, or whoever, or the dogs, or the cats, or the house, or whatever. They're always putting everyone else first. But, if you've been like me and you've been on a plane once before, when you're backing up from the gate and the stewardess is going through the instructions. Have y'all been on the planes when they say, in case of loss of cabin pressure or a descent or whatever, that an oxygen mask will come down out of the bay thing, the holder of it, out of the ceiling, and make sure you put your kid's mask on first and then put your own mask on? Don't they say that? You remember them saying that? You probably weren't paying attention because you were probably reading or trying to send the last text message or email before you had to go to airplane mode, or you were already had a movie playing and you were not even paying attention. But you remember they said, when the mask comes down, put the mask on your kids first and then put your own mask on. You remember that? Oh, no, you don't remember that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, because that's not what they say. They say, put your own mask on first. Because if you can't breathe, you can't help anyone else. So when's the last time that you did something selfishly for yourself? Uh-oh, here we go. Yeah, we're going there. What do you do to fill your own cup up? Because no matter how big your cup is, you could have an Olympic-sized swimming pool as your cup. But if you don't ever put any more water into it, and you just keep splashing it out and just giving all your energy away, eventually there's going to be no water left in the pool. And it's borderline impossible to swim in a swimming pool with no water in it, because you can do the same thing on the concrete. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do for you? What are you into? Me personally, I like playing golf. And I try to go as often as possible. And I like reading books. Most of those books on that bookshelf back there, if you're on the podcast, over my shoulder, I've got a bookshelf. And I've got a bunch of books down here too, and another bookshelf in the other room. And I've read most of those books. I haven't read all of them, but I've read 80 or 85% of those books over there over the last, since 2008, when I started making reading something I would do. I like watching Liverpool. And whenever Liverpool is playing in the Premier League or the Champions League or wherever they're playing, unless it's a friendly, I'm going to do my best to set aside my schedule to watch Liverpool. I like watching the Dallas Cowboys. And I like watching college football. Now, I don't watch near as much college football as I used to. But pretty much every Saturday night from September till about January, if you come to my house on a Saturday night, I'm watching college football. And it's going to be on. But what are you into? Are you into playing guitar or traveling, or do you quilt or sew? Do you play an instrument? Do you like to do jigsaw puzzles? Do you like to ride horses? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Pending it's legal or moral. We don't want to really drive into that very often, or hardly ever, preferably. But what are you into? What fills you with energy? Because we've got things that fill us with energy, and we have things that drain us of energy. So make a list of all the things you do during the week. Make 2 columns on a piece of paper. Fills me with energy on one side and drains me of energy on the other side. And write down everything. Fills me up with energy, drains me of energy. The goal should be to get as much as the right column that says drains me of energy, either delegated, or you don't do that anymore, you just quit doing it, or do more of the fills me up with energy. And it's okay to take 15 minutes doing something that you really like. Maybe you like listening to music. So if that is the case, when's the last time you literally shut the TV off, shut your devices off? If you're really into music, you probably have good headphones. When's the last time you turned all the outside noise off and put in your AirPods or your earbuds or your over-the-ear headphones and just sat and just listened to your favorite album with not a care in the world? But if that's in your fills you up with energy column, we need to find ways to do more of that. Now, sometimes, like with golf, for example, right now outside, it is raining small children outside. It is pouring here today. And it rained for the most part yesterday all day. And it's supposed to rain tomorrow too. So I'm not going to play golf this week. It's not happening. But I can still read. Or do something with my family. So, but maybe that's not it. Maybe you like volunteering your time and that fills you up with energy, or you like being involved in your service club or your local chamber of commerce or your church or whatever. The point is to just maybe take an inventory of what you do on a fairly regular basis, weekly or monthly, that fills you up with energy or drains you with energy. One of the things that I've heard, from some of my coaching clients is I just don't have time to do whatever, fill in the blank. And my very next question to them always is that true? Is it true you don't have time? Because everyone on earth gets the same 24 hours. So someone who looks like they're super successful and they've got all the free time in the world, what are they doing when you're not watching them? One of the biggest distractions that we have is our phone. You know those icons, right? Facebook, social, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, the games on your phone, those social media companies. And I'm not judging social media because this is kind of on social media right now. YouTube, the base of the highest paid and the smartest people, the highest paid engineers and the smartest people basically in the world work for these companies. And there's nothing wrong with social media, but if you're consumed by it, I want to look at that. Because what social media has the ability to do is to let you think that you're not enough. Because you're comparing what your current life is to everyone's highlight reels on social media. And hey, been there, guilty, got the t-shirt, okay? It's not that I don't spend time on social media. What I try to do is, to the best of my ability, I try to get in, see what I want to see, and then get out. The biggest time suck for me in the calendar for the week is that watch button on Facebook. And I wish I could disable that where I didn't see it, but to my knowledge, you can't. Because Facebook wants you to stay on their platform longer, and so does TikTok and Instagram, and you name the social media deal, so does YouTube, because that's how they make money, because they can sell ads. It's not rocket, just like your TV. The late local news or Fox News or CNN or whatever your news channel of choice is, they don't tell you the good stuff. They tell you the bad stuff. And they make it worse than it appears because they want you to keep watching so they can sell advertisement. So where's your personal time going? Maybe along with what fills you up with energy and what drains you with energy, maybe you take a weekly audit of where you spent your time. I'd make a schedule every 15 minutes for the whole week and see how much time you actually do have. An hour a day over 6 months is like 6 weeks. I mean, an hour a day for say 6 months, that's 180 hours in 6 months, just an hour a day on watching TV or social media or whatever you're binge watching Netflix. Okay. But the thing about time is it's not going to stop. And once you, quote unquote, spend an hour doing whatever it is you're doing, you're never going to get that hour back. Ever. If you've been listening to this podcast, I've been going about 15 minutes right now. You can't get the last 15 minutes back. You can't get the last 3 seconds back. So once you spend it, it's gone. So how are you choosing to spend your time? Like other than watching Liverpool and the Cowboys, and I'll watch golf occasionally. Other than that, I don't watch much TV. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching TV, but what I do when I watch TV, now not soccer, or for my people not in America who's listening to this, football for you, but soccer for us. I can't do this when I'm watching soccer because there's no timeouts. But when I'm watching American football, like the Cowboys or college football, the game takes 3 to 3.5 hours, depending on scoring and whatever. Okay. But let's say it takes 3 hours just to make it even. The actual game is 60 minutes, 4 15-minute quarters. So it's 3 hours long, but an actual hour of game time. The rest of that 2.5 hours is commercials, replays, halftime. Okay. But in an average NFL game, the average play takes 4 or 5 seconds and you're done. So what I do when I'm watching a football game is I will watch a play, and then after the play's over, I might be reading a book. This is a pretty good one, High Performance Habits. So I'll have my book open and I'll watch the play and I'll read a paragraph or so before the next play, because then they got a huddle or they might call a timeout. Well, if they call a timeout, you're not watching the commercials anyway. You could just press mute on the commercials. You've got about 3 minutes to come back, 3.5 minutes during the commercial break. And in 3 minutes, you could probably read a page. And then during halftime, you don't need the analysis of what the experts say because you're watching the game too. So generally halftime is 20 or so minutes, give or take, 20, 25 minutes, because there's commercial breaks in that too. So during halftime, you can just press mute on the TV and read 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 pages, or 7, depending on how big the book is or how fast you read. Because then you don't just turn your TV watching time into just watching TV. You're developing yourself if you like to read, or if you like to do crossword puzzles, or you like to do word finds. You could have your word find and do the exact same thing that I would do with a book. You do that exact same thing while you're watching the game. So in that 3 hours, now, if I know what you're saying right now, I know what you're saying. But what if I miss an important play? Well, if you haven't noticed, if it's an important play, you're going to see at least 3 replays and maybe 5. Maybe more than that. Because if it has a review, then you're going to see the review replays for the next 6 or 7 minutes. And I'm not saying you have your TV muted. If you haven't noticed, generally when something big happens, the commentators raise their voice. So then you might stop what you're reading and look up real quick and see it. Okay. But even if you miss the play, it's not like it's going to change the outcome of the play. The play still happened. And if they don't show any replays at all and you just spaced out doing whatever you were doing, then watch SportsCenter that night, because I guarantee you they'll have the replay. Another thing you could do is, let's say you're into personal development. Whenever you're driving to your job, instead of listening to talk radio or the weather or sports talk or whatever morning show you're listening to, maybe you listen to a podcast. Or if you're trying to learn a new language, you listen to your Spanish or German or French or whatever you're trying to learn while you drive. You're already in the car anyway. Say your commute's 30 minutes one way. Well, if that's 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes home, that means you're learning for an hour instead of just driving. So it's called a twofer, by the way. Like, I'm going to get two for the price of one. Or maybe you're into, like, you really love walking. Well, maybe when you go walk, you put your headphones in and you listen to a sermon or a podcast or inspirational talk or motivational message, because then you're working your body and your mind. Like for this podcast, for those of you that are on the podcast, I've joined Orange Theory a year ago, the gym, the fitness studio. Well, that's part of my personal time. I go and I work out in the gym 3 or 4 times a week. Most times 4 times a week, but at least 3 times a week. But that's part of I set that aside on my calendar where I know it's going to happen. Like today at 4:15, I'm going to the gym. But the thing about the gym is that's not the time it's not social hour. I don't go to the gym to talk. If you want to talk before we start the workout, I'll talk to you. If you want to talk after the workout, 99% of the time, I'll be able to talk to you for a couple minutes. But during the workout, we're not talking because I'm working. I'm in there we're either rowing or on the strength floor or on the treadmill. Well, my guess is if you can carry on a conversation the entire workout, it's an hour, if you can carry on a full conversation for a full hour, you're probably not getting all the benefits from it, because like when I'm on the treadmill, if we do a sprint, I can barely breathe after I get done. It makes it much more difficult if you're having a conversation with someone and you're trying to run at the same time. But that's what I do. I go to the gym. My coach challenged me about a year ago. I wasn't like super overweight, but I had some pounds. It was 232 pounds, which is the heaviest I've been in my life. And he said something. He said to me in one of our sessions, he said, "You don't suit me as someone that does anything average." Ouch. So I had to change that. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to. So now, depending on the day, I'm about 205 pounds. But I also work too. So what do you do? What do you do that fills you up with energy? And what do you do that drains you with energy? And when's the last time you selfishly did something for yourself? Might be something to consider. Okay, so I hope this was valuable for you. Again, this is the 6th of 7 solo episodes I'm doing, going over the wheel of life. The next and final solo episode, at least for right now, the career spoke. You're not going to want to miss that one. That'll be awesome. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great day.